All three of you showed incredible leadership and contributed enormously to Amherst in the context of Amherst Uprising. And I wondered if you would talk a little bit about the events and what led to the uprising activities. It's not easy for people outside of the college, I think, to understand why we view the impact of it as positively as we do. And it would be helpful for you all just to talk about it from whatever angle makes sense to you.
So Amherst Uprising kind of fits for me in a continuum of personal growth. So starting with Cuba really and studying abroad, I found that I couldn't talk to people back home because I didn't have a cell phone connection or internet access as available to me as I do here. And so I started having to write a lot and reflect a lot. And I realized how in the process of writing I could actually see myself on paper and distance myself from what was going on around me and have a new perspective about it. And I think that realization kind of manifested in my thesis, and I started asking questions about the process of writing, what it can do for Black women specifically. And as I was doing that, Amherst Uprising happened. And then I started listening to people's stories, and I realized that it wasn't just a question of writing, but of storytelling and being brave and vulnerable and sharing your truths. And so for me, given the context of my past year and my thesis, being in the space of Amherst Uprising and watching so many of my peers being so brave and putting themselves into a space where they could reflect and realize that their personal experiences were related to a set of social and political conditions on campus and that they weren't alone was so powerful. And so that's really, to put it in a nutshell, that's what Amherst Uprising became for me.
What do you hope its impact will be? Or what do you think it has already been?
I think for me personally, and this ties a little back to what Rachel was saying as well, I think one was a continuum of my entire experience at Amherst. So definitely my major, I think that's the cool thing about Black Studies is that it's so easily applicable to day-to-day situations and analyzing whole systems and everything down to the way that you are as a person, the way you exist in a community, as well as my involvement in the community. So I'm very passionate about community engagement and bringing people together across different sort of areas and sectors of the college. And that's really what I saw in that space. It was community building. And to me, it was all about how can we be better for each other and for ourselves, and how can we better support one another and make this a community that we deserve, the community that we all envision it could be. And I think that so much of it came from a place of love, and that's where all of my work comes from too. That's one of the things that I said when I spoke, is that I wouldn't have done anything that I did do or have been doing if I didn't see so much potential in this campus. And as a senior, it's always really heartwarming to see that. I have such faith in the students that Amherst chooses to bring here. The community in my time has been incredible, and I have no doubt that it will continue to be really incredible on the way out. So,
I think for me, Amherst Uprising is really an opportunity. It has become now an opportunity to really strengthen the community on campus. And it's because, as Mercedes said, the students that I see that come here, our friends, our peers, are really selected because they do, to some extent, from admissions. They are bridge builders. Mm-hmm. They are not always going to conform to certain things. And I think that's really powerful for me to see at Amherst Uprising. Something that from admissions really blossoms later on, unfortunately. And then there's also the side of how to move beyond groups, how to really build a truly inclusive community, campus-wide. And that's one of the things, for example, that the student government has been facing, is how to be more than just a funding organization, but how to really advocate for students, the way that some student groups really do. And I think that's also an opportunity that in my time in the student government, I've gotten the sense that students really want the student government to be there for them, beyond funding, to really advocate for them in the ways. And so this is the opportunity that I see where all of this can start to come together, all these plans. And so I'm actually very, very hopeful to see the future.
I can also say that I came to Amherst because I wanted to be a part of a small, family-oriented community. And for those 3 days in the library, I saw people in one space that I see in different spaces all over campus every single day. And for that intersection to happen was so special, and something that I think I'm going to keep with me as I remember Amherst Uprising.